Hey everyone, this is a special video dedicated especially to my fellow walkaways. And, conservatives, independents, you're all welcome to join in, but I really wanted to get this take from someone who used to be a Democrat. I've been watching a few conservatives give their thoughts on the New Hampshire primary last night, but I just wanted to kind of approach this from the perspective of someone who used to be a lifelong Democrat. This coming election will be the first time in my life that I will be voting for a Republican candidate as an independent. I officially unregistered when Mike and I got married and I changed my name. I had the opportunity to change my affiliation. I thought I had done it like over a year ago, but my state is pretty inept, so no surprise that didn't take. And so now I am officially a untethered voter, and my first act as an independent will be to vote for a Republican. As I've said, I've said before, I don't totally trust Trump, and I don't support everything he's done, but there are some things that he's done that I like, and I feel like a vote, no disrespect to anyone who's planning to just abstain, but I feel like the situation is a little more dire than that. And I think if any of these Democrats were to actually win, it would be disastrous for not just my fellow conservatives, but for everyone else, even though they don't realize that. So, from a former Dems perspective, I've noticed some people were surprised about how well Amy Klobuchar's done, the fact that she came in third. But if you watch the last debate, I don't think you'd be surprised at all by how well she did. She was really excellent in that debate. Do I ultimately think that a woman should be president? I actually don't. And you can be mad at me for that if you want to, but I don't think a woman should be president. I love you ladies. I love us. But I think there is a certain detachedness and there is a certain coldness that you need to have as a world leader. You need to be able to make hard decisions that could potentially lead to the loss of life. And I just don't see any female candidate out there that would be willing to do that, other than Clinton, who would take this into a Dr. Evil scenario that, she's like the extreme of what you never ever want a candidate to be. But so I was really impressed by Amy at the debate. I thought she did a fantastic job. She absolutely did a better job than Warren. Warren looked like a floundering, lying mess up there on that debate stage. And so, Amy was well-spoken. She had good answers for everything. She was assertive. And, she really stuck out that night as a moderate voice, a voice of reason. So I was pleasantly surprised to see how well she did. Ultimately, she's not going to be the nominee, but she was celebrating last night, and I saw a few people kind of poking fun at her for celebrating, but I think she had every reason to do so. She did a great job, better than I think anyone expected of her. So, kudos, good for her. That being said, I was surprised at how badly Warren and Biden did. That was the big shock. I really thought, I thought going into this that Biden was going to be the nominee. I thought as soon as he entered the race, it was over, and the rest of them didn't even need to show up anymore. He's got that, Obama legacy going on. He's got that record to draw back on. And he, before I learned about some of his behavior that is incredibly questionable. When I was a Democrat, I was a big Biden supporter. I wanted him to run. I was disappointed that he didn't in 2016. He fell back and let Clinton take the nomination. And at the time, I was sad about it. I thought he was sort of like a lovable grandpa kind of, personality. And now we're learning he's a little too lovable, and he is Creepy Joe, and I would never want him in the White House. I would never want someone like that representing this country. He creeps me out. He makes my skin crawl, and he's just not a smart candidate. He is making so many stupid decisions, telling voters not to vote for him, go vote for someone else. Oh God, there was that just the other day when he called that woman a lying dog-faced pony soldier. Like, what are you thinking? I get that you were joking, and I get everybody there kind of gave you awkward laughter, but that was such a bonehead, anyway, we're digressing, but was surprised to see how badly Joe did, and I'm surprised that he hasn't dropped out of the race yet. He's skipping Nevada. He's going straight to South Carolina, where he thinks he's got a better chance, and he probably does. So, we'll see what happens. The other two kind of surprises before we get to the actual winners, but if you don't know yet, Andrew Yang has dropped out, and Tom Steyer has also dropped out. I could give two craps about Steyer. He is insane. He, bought his way on there in the first place, so he can just go. But I was really surprised that Yang dropped out of the race. I thought he was going to stay in it for the long haul. I know a ton of his supporters are Yang or bust, so I don't know if they're going to end up switching over to Trump or if they're going to just decide to stay home that night. I don't know. I think that Yang, he made some really good points, but ultimately his UBI plan was just not feasible, and it was, I think ultimately that's what, people saw that, and even though Yang had a more sort of moderate sort of approach to a lot of issues, that one core issue turned off so many people. And those same people are going to be turned off of Bernie, and so now we'll move into that. Bernie won last night, but just barely, and so did he really win? Pete, I can't not call him Booty Judge, so just forgive me for the vulgarity, or if you're offended by that, but it's just too convenient of a last name going along with who he is. It just works so well, it looks like even though Bernie won last night, he just barely squeaked by and got a, what is it? What was he, 25.7, and I think Booty Judge was like 24 point something. Don't quote me on that, I'm just pulling that out of memory. But so because of that, they are both going to be getting the same number of delegates, and I believe that overall Booty Judge is ahead, and in all likelihood he's probably going to be the nominee, and we might see them on a joint ticket. Who knows? Maybe Bernie will settle for VP, and we'll see what happens. But I think it's very clear that the Democratic establishment is not going to let Bernie be the nominee, or they're going to do everything they can to keep him from the nomination, exactly what they did to him the last time. And I think they're going to work even harder at it this time, because he has gone so much further left than he was in 2016. He's flip-flopped on immigration, and just some other issues, and he's just, he recently basically just flat out said that if you're a pro-life Democrat, you have no place in the party. And so that's going to, turn a lot of people off. So it'll be very interesting. As someone who supported Bernie back then, I would not support him today, even if I were still a Democrat. He's just gone way too far off to the left, and it's just I can't be down with the communism. And he can call it democratic socialism if he wants to, but we know what it is. So, you know, I really think that this has been surprising. When Pete Buttigieg first came on, I thought there's no way this guy has a chance. This, you know, tiny milquetoast kind of average seeming white guy, you know, but he has become the establishment darling, and they're going to put all of their, you know, power behind him. And so he is probably going to be the nominee. And Trump is going to eat him alive on their debate stage, and I will be right there with the popcorn, watching it all. But I think it is safe to say that there is no one that can beat Trump right now. And even if they were to, you know, dust off the corpse of Clinton, I don't think she would have a chance either. I think it would be a blowout. If you saw the numbers, Trump got more votes in New Hampshire than the last 3 incumbents, and just blew Obama's numbers out of the water. What did he get? Like, Trump got like 120,000 votes, and I think Obama, when he was in New Hampshire, he got like 48,000. So just, you know, over double what he had. So this is probably going to be a blowout. We'll see. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to screw up our chances, you know, but it's really looking like the Democrats, for all their efforts, for all of their work in importing voters, you know, in convincing Black Americans that they are somehow the party of freedom when in fact they're the party of slavery. You know, all of this work they've been doing to try to rig and tilt the tables over to their side, and they are so inept and such a mess that they cannot do it. They cannot get it together enough to actually win when they are already cheating. So it's going to be interesting. And I would really love to hear from my fellow former Democrats on what you think. So let me know in the comments below. And as I said last week, you know, I really appreciate all of your help in liking and sharing these videos. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.